Cool. Oh, okay. Well, I was going to talk to you about that because Sarah's your call person.
Sarah Preston?
Yes, and she's a little occupied.
Yeah, because I was in her,
So that's why you haven't got a caller coming in.
I'm going to do it, I just haven't. I'm just going to plug it.
Perfect. Plug is all.
Okay.
I love having that effect.
I know, everyone's like waiting.
People see me and they're like, okay, time to go. I welcome the kind thoughts. Yeah, just send me an email with an amount and we'll book it as a pledge.
Yeah, I'm maxed out this year.
Awesome.
I'm still doing, friend points. Being on the board.
Oh, did you work with Deborah? Love her.
Yeah, she's great.
Because she was on the board at Buckley.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
talked.
Yeah, I'm friends with Heidi Jackson.
Yeah, oh yeah, that I knew, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I'm still on board, so when you're roped in forever, then they're like, oh, you need to donate. I'm actually donating to the Deborah Richmond scholarship. I'm out of it for 5 years, big enough. You gotta stretch it out.
We had dinner once and we just got seated at the same board table and just listened to her talk.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't sign up like the tags. I drove through the whole state this last night. Oh,
yeah. I was sooner. I was in the Bay Area.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm like, okay, we're going to the Orange Bowl for the playoffs.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
It's so fun. So, yeah, she's great. Yeah, I owe her a lunch actually. Yeah, she said, you're never going to talk to me again when I retire. I'm like, where'd you go?
I just got sent a video from Buckley, this project that I did with the 8th graders last year, but they had to edit me out of it all because they wanted to use it as like a so they're like, here, I thought you should see it. We took all your parts out, but the video turned out great.
They're like, you abandoned us.
They're like, we're gonna miss you, but we're gonna cut you out of it. You were a part of it. Awesome.
Better. Pretty good. If you have another
If it's not out,
I also YouTube is sending flowers right now, so after it's done next year. So if you want, like a week after it, yeah, it's interesting. It'll tell you like how long it's supposed to stay and watch it for, or if they like stretch through or just yeah. So
that's actually
a week after, so I'll send it out to you.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting to watch. Do like a health lady that was like 30 years old, like it was interesting. You can see like within 24 hours how many people, within like 48 hours. So yeah, and you can see I feel like this for I was trying to read logo. Yeah, so I'll start sending you that. Exactly. Yeah. But no, it should be a word here.
It's all about the development. My normal routine.
Hey, all right, there you go. That's right. Right? Don't go.
I got you.
Hey, shit, your feet don't even touch the I was gonna say, right cross. So what? Rotate it out?
We live stream. You can't be seen with
Lucky to get some members of your family.
Jump right in.
Completely off the camera by sitting right here.
Okay, great.
So they're going to be the longest part of the other two. So I want to welcome you to our December CPO General Meeting. Got a week left before winter break. I know everyone's really excited to kind of get ready and into that holiday spirit. So we've got kind of a packed agenda today, so I want to thank you all for being here, and I'm going to turn it over to Ben for a campus update.
There we go. We had a week left. We've had a bunch of alumni back, because colleges are starting to, you all know that they actually don't go to school when they go to college. They just learn and then they come back. So we had, and they're all on break. And so they're here like, yeah, our kids are deeply depressed. And they're not great for another more than a week. They're like, this is ridiculous. I've been lobbied heavily. Julia, you can just call off the next couple of weeks, right? I'm not going to do that, but anyway, I understand. I lose track of time. The one nice thing actually about this long stretch and coming back from Thanksgiving break in November, which we don't usually do just because of the way the calendar falls, is we get 4 weeks, and so it's a more productive time. But if you're a kid, productivity is not high in the priorities. So, and it's been nuanced as it all is. Obviously, we went through the first trimester and discovered a few things about our new schedule, which is very much in the current discourse. And actually, we've gotten a lot of really good feedback on it. Anything you try that's new is going to have its share of challenges, and there's some unanticipated consequences of this. Interestingly enough, when we run the schedule the way we design the schedule, it goes great. It's when we run the abridged weeks or when we have other adjustments that we have to make, and the schedule is more like our old schedule, that's when it doesn't work, which is, I'm sure there is something in that we could explore, but we're not going to go there. But anyway, we're limiting the abridged weeks in the second trimester. We're talking about what adjustments we may make for next year or third trimester. So lots of that stuff is going on. I sat down with the seniors on Monday night to ask them about their experience with the schedule, and got a lot of those same comments and questions about homework standards, all those adjustments, because for the most part, I think students are feeling like the expectation from faculty about the amount of work they can do for each individual class in certain circumstances is probably too great. So, like all things, we're going to find our level. It's just going to take us a little while. The other thing that I think is charging this time of year, it always does, is the college process. That's not a surprise, I don't think, to anyone. Couple of nuances that we're seeing already this year. One, as we have for the last couple of years, all of our kids, with the exception of one in this class, made at least one early app, and many of them made more than one. They'll apply early decision to one school and then early action to one or more schools, which has huge impact, obviously, on the fall and all the preparation for that. I asked the seniors on Monday night, what could we have done to better prepare you for all that you were going to have to do this year? Laura was there, I think. I didn't get a lot of answers. I don't think there's a whole lot you can do. Maybe start the college stuff earlier, but that's hard to do in the summer, and a lot of kids are already working on that. I think there probably are adjustments that we should make, but it's interesting to me that we can't seem to defeat this one central myth that has occupied Kate as long as I've been here, and that is that the junior year is the hard year, and once you finish that, everything is gravy. No, not even close. And senior fall, therefore, is a shock to the system to a lot of our kids who come in with very different expectations about what it's going to be like, and then are faced with a reality that is at odds with those expectations. In terms of the early college process, we're hearing a couple of things from colleges, which isn't surprising. So much of the colleges have really engineered things towards the early process. They've been, whether they are calling it intentional or not, clearly there's a greater focus on applying early and the yields that come with committed students early on. We've talked to a couple of schools whose early apps are up 25%. And these are incredibly competitive schools, so it's not as though they already had a lot. And so to go up 25%, we're scratching our heads a little bit trying to figure out what this means for the regular pool, because the world didn't suddenly come up with 25% more kids applying to school. The demographics don't support those numbers, and so we don't know what that's going to mean, and we don't know how schools are going to respond to that increased volume and what that'll mean for regular decision and all that. So there's a lot still to be discovered, but our seniors have been great. They've been taking care of each other when they get news, both good and bad, which is inevitable to this time of year. December is always a tough month from that standpoint, but you know, we manage. And as I said to the kids, and I don't know if it helped, my December didn't go the way I wanted it to in 1981. And then I went to a school that I hadn't expected to be my school, and I met my wife the first day on campus. So you just never know what's going to happen. And my experience is life actually puts you in a position that is far more advantageous than the ones you plan for yourself. And so just let this stuff happen. There are lots of things you can't control. And so we'll see how it all works out, and the dust will settle and everybody will find a new home. That's what happens. In terms of other things going on, you see that we were just down at the construction site, and it is rising, and they're pouring concrete. And in case you're wondering, that it's poured in place concrete. That's how the building is going to be built. So it's like these original buildings in the center of campus, which to me is just really cool. I love the idea that we can do that. The only reason we can do that is because steel is so darn expensive that concrete now looks downright economical now. But we're still expecting to be on schedule. We were down there to look at the community center, which we will be modifying, obviously, because we're going to have a new student center in the new building. And the focus of that space is going to be on dance and possibly choral performance and things like that. So we think the synergy of those two spaces next to each other is going to be really cool. It could even be an outdoor performance space right there in the courtyard before you enter the servery. So kind of neat. If you go down there and you look at the construction, that's the pour for the basement. That's not the pour for the building. So it's actually about probably half the scale of the building. A lot of the building goes out into Kirby Quad. So you get a sense of the scale of this structure, which is a little daunting, but I think it's going to be great. And then obviously that's going to, we are in the midst of talking to architects about the Raymond Commons renovation, which will start as soon as we can vacate that space and get down there, but all really exciting things going on. Otherwise, I would say the thing that distinguishes this time of year, and you're going to hear it from Will and Josh and others, is the amount of effort to raise funds or make contributions in one way or another to the life of another person. It's one of the inspiring things about this community is you see that Servon's concept in practical application, particularly during these 4 weeks, and it's incredibly heartening. We had a gentleman visiting from Round Square not too long ago, and he was in assembly and heard some of the Movember stuff and some of the Los Niños stuff and some of the Christmas cheer, and he came out and just was, wow. And I think we lose track of how extraordinary that is, but especially in this day and age when so much worry about this generation or that generation. And what we see is incredible unselfishness and great interest in making a difference in the world. So I can't think of a better message to leave school with and go home to our families. So that's my report. I know we have lots of other important things to do. I recommend the cookies when you go. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks, man.
So, nice segue in. So Josh Shields, Flora Troy, and Will Holmes are gonna kind of give an announcement just on the holiday cheer program. There's a little bit of information in the communique earlier this week. You guys go.
So just like she said, my name is Josh Shields. I'm a senior here at Cape.
And I'm Flora Troy, I'm a senior as well, and so we were both on the holiday cheer committee both last year and this year.
We are here just on behalf of some of the other members as well to make a plea for donations. We are looking out for 4 families this year, and these 4 families are families that have fallen on hard times, times of economic crisis, times where it's looking like Christmas isn't going to be one laden with gifts. And so Holidays Cheer purpose is to be able to provide these families with a decent Christmas so that they can enjoy that holiday spirit and just sort of forget about their current plight and have fun and feel happy. And
So as Mr. Williams mentioned earlier, I mean, all of us have had a very busy month, especially senior year. It's been a lot going on. But so it's really important for us to take time out of that schedule to kind of think beyond our Cape bubble, because it's so easy to get wrapped up in what's going on right here, right now, because there is so much. But just to think even into Carpinteria, and we go into Carpinteria or Santa Barbara every week for public service night, every Wednesday, but even to make this small difference with 4 families, I mean, it kind of broadens your perspective a little bit.
One of the things that's happening on campus is the boys varsity basketball team is again going around to dorms and faculty homes and collecting money. In fact, one of the players knocked on my door last night. So it's pretty neat that that continues to happen, and that team has been doing this for a number of years. So part of the reason that we're here is that you're not on campus, you're not having your door knocked upon. So if you're interested, Ben talked about he sort of looked, his body language was this direction because Holiday Cheer, the collection display is set up right through this door. So after this meeting, if you'd like to check it out, Julia, who's one of the librarians, did a masterful job sort of taking what all of us could muster and glossing it up. But check that out. I believe also we communicate where the details of all the families. We have, as I said, 4 families. 3 are single parent families, 11 children, the youngest of whom was just born on September 30th. So, pretty young families for some of them. Josh mentioned the crisis, so we just added the 4th family in the last few days because the Carpinteria Health Clinic, they're the ones who throughout the year think, what is a family, assuming Kate comes knocking again, what's one of the families? And so these are the families who are really, really struggling. And this family, they did label them in crisis. It's a mother and 2 teenagers, so the same age as people going to Kate school. But if you're interested in giving anything, new and gently used items can go in there. Gift cards are a great thing, and a lot of the families list simple things. Albertson's gift card, that goes a long way if you're struggling. If you wanted to donate money, checks can be written to Kate School. Cash obviously works. We're going to go shopping as a group. So, Ben said it better than I could. It's a community effort. There are 7 of us who are on the official committee, and that's only because a vehicle holds that many people. Because we need a little room for some of the gifts, and they're like boxes on laps, and they can tell you as we go and deliver to that first family. So we're going to go shopping. We're going to see what the donations are. Basketball team's tallying by Friday, I guess tomorrow. And we'll shop Sunday and deliver on Tuesday, and it'll be pretty magical. And maybe you could mention a little bit about some of the homes that you went to last year in your experience, because they're the only 2 who are returning, and it's just a pretty small group of people who actually go into the homes.
So with one home that I remember we dropped off gifts to last year was a family, both parents happened to be out, and it was an older sister who was actually our age. She was a junior in high school as well, and then her 2 younger brothers. It looked like she had just finished cleaning up dinner after she had cooked it, and we came in, and it just struck me how, I guess just the duality of our situations, me being at a school like this in such a fortunate position, and then her having to deal with a much harder family situation while on top of that dealing with school and just all the regular struggles of being a junior and then transitioning into senior year. So that's something that's just really stuck with me and taught me to be grateful for even just the little things.
Yeah, my experience from last year was one of the homes we went into. Right when you walked in the door, there was a bunk bed, another bed, and a couch right in that first room. And as we were talking to the family, we noticed that they were living with another family that they know through a friend of a friend because they had to move out of their home recently. So it's kind of, I hadn't realized what crisis is. And to see that in person, the mom was holding an infant in her arms, and it was amazing to see that strength in a mother and how she can just hold together her family. So it was really important that we could make them have a nice Christmas. And so this year we've been adding a few more ways to fundraise, so that's been exciting. So Josh.
Just as
So you start with Ethan working with
as a little incentive, mainly for the students, but you all are more than welcome to allow us to be an incentive for you as well.
That's very generous.
For the $500 benchmark, a peer of ours and another committee member of Holiday Cheer dyed his hair blue. For $1,000, I've offered to shave off all of my hair. Sacrifices are worth it. And at $1,500, another member is offered not only to shave off his hair, but his eyebrows.
So we've gotten a little bit more creative this year. We're gonna hopefully figure out a bake sale for Friday, and then a group of acapella singers are gonna go caroling to raise money. So we're just trying to make this Christmas special, especially now that we're supporting 4 families.
And I think the hair pledge was a result of the Movember, so we grew our hair to raise money in November. Now people are cutting it off and raise funds. So we don't know what January is going to bring. But I think I have to leave before this meeting's over. If you have any questions, Tracy and I have been in contact. Feel free to ask me questions, send me an email, whatever you'd like. Put something in the boxes, my mailbox, anything would be appreciated. So thanks for having us.
Thank you. So next up, we've got an announcement from Mr. Connect on the Copenhagen Park.
Yeah, this will be a quick one. Hi, my name's John Connect. I'm the music director. And I received an email a couple weeks ago from the Copenhagen Girls Choir. And it was interesting. It started off by saying, "We've heard you have a great music program." And I thought, wow, we're famous in Denmark. This is awesome. I don't know how that happened, but... and they are coming through town the week of March 25th. So they're performing with the Children's Choir in San Francisco, the Children's Choir in LA, and we're sort of in the middle, so they were looking around for opportunities, and I'm always open to cool, crazy ideas. And it turns out they're coming through at exactly the same time that we're having our international convocation. So I thought, what's more international? So we'll have our students perform from their cultures, and then I thought it'd be cool to have them do a half-hour set. And then during the day, they might work with our choir as well. They're very classically trained. They're at an all-girls arts high school. So this is what they do half of every day is sing. They sound beautiful, and they're also being accompanied by a Baltic rock band or something. So it's getting better. And then they also threw in that they're traveling with a Swedish lap steel guitar player. So I don't know how this is all going to play out, but I like it. And so the catch is that they need housing for about 65 girls for a night or two. And so amazing hookup. We contacted, David Wood contacted the Yakumo Academy, and they have a space in Santa Barbara that holds about 50, and they've already offered. So we're really close already. They could all just probably cram in there. But I thought I'd just pitch it to you guys. That may fall through. I'm not 100% sure it's there yet. And just open to any ideas as far as like local housing. I think they really just want to get into like local families, local cultures, meet people, like get to know what Californians are like. And so, you know, and it'd be a fun way to meet some really sweet travelers from another part of the globe. So you can email me, Tracy. Well, you know, any suggestions that you have, we're open. Thank you. Should be fun.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, Marnie, you're up. Yeah, great. So Marnie's here, she's gonna talk about the peer tutoring program that's available for underclassmen. And some of the senior TAs, I think, are gonna join her and talk about it. Yeah. And let's see if I can get my. Here we go. Okay. So I was just going to give you a quick review of academic support in general, and I'll start with the peer tutoring program, because we have our peer tutors here, and some of them need to get to their M block. That'll be secure, we'll see, hopefully. Let's see. Okay, so the takeaways, I'd love for you to know what academic support is available here at Kate, and to understand how to access that support, the process for accessing that support. Then, so support structures that we have here at Kate School. We have, the advisor is always that first line of defense when your student is struggling or reporting some kind of challenge, whether it's in a specific class, or whether it's kind of in general, or overwhelm, or difficulty with organizing or planning. That advisor is that first person to contact. And I think you all know how to access that advisor support. We have learning labs with peer tutors. Each learning lab has a head peer tutor. Of course, for content area support, we encourage students to see their teachers first, content area teacher. Our librarians are excellent support people with regard to citations, resources, online resources. They're wonderful and they make themselves very valuable, very available. We have a supervised study hall, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a bit. I am the director of the Academic Skills Center, so that's something that's also available. And of course, counseling services can be really helpful with students who are experiencing procrastination, or some of the more like social and emotional elements that interfere with learning, or test anxiety. And then we do have a referral list for independent practitioners, but we try to use our support services on campus first and encourage students to connect with those, because it's a wonderful way for teachers and adults to get to know how that child learns, and for the student to get specific content area support from someone who knows the curriculum very well. Okay, so as I said, the process for accessing any of this, it's always good to start with the advisor, so the advisor's in the know. Your child's advisor receives all the communication about academics on campus with regard to academics and social. And so that advisor knows your child well and has a relationship. And sometimes when that relationship, well, almost always when that relationship is there, the student is more open, to taking those suggestions and that coaching. Okay, and then we have Erin Hansen, I think 3 or 4 years ago, started our peer tutor program. And it's just grown every year since then. And peer tutors are recommended by, they either express interest to their teachers or the department head, or they are actually tapped by department heads or their teacher and encouraged to apply. When we look at candidates, we do take a look also at their other commitments. So we have lots of students who are qualified, but maybe aren't part of the program because they have other leadership positions, and we don't, this is a year-long commitment, and we don't want them to be taxed. We want them to be able to serve. So Carolyn, you want to give kind of an overview of peer tutoring support?
Yeah. Sure. So hi, I'm Caroline. I'm a senior this year, and I have served as a peer tutor in mathematics and Chinese, and this year I'm the head of the program. So as Ms. Beer kind of already said, Learning Lab is a program kind of created by a wonderful team of passionate teachers and wonderful, brilliant students to provide an academic resource for the K students outside of the academic day. And so providing student proctors Tuesday through Thursday during study hours for all academic subjects, our teams work together to support the students as best as we can. So kind of emphasizing dedication, self-awareness, proactivity, and learning how to get the answer instead of just what the answer is. We kind of hope to foster a love of learning in the outside of the classroom and hopefully encourage future proctors. And of course, we do not aim to replace the role of the teacher or kind of learning objectives and approaches inside the classroom, but instead work in conjunction with the teachers, with advisors, to help these students to best encourage their academic career. And so our labs are always full to the brim of students coming to get help from everything from conjugations in Spanish to why we need stoichiometry and chemistry. And my personal favorite is when students come in to practice their oral language skills, which is often encouraged by language teachers, which is basically a great way for the students to come and practice speaking in the language to kind of further that, and also just a little bit of an excuse or multitasking, should I say, to talk about our lives and the weekend plans whilst improving our skills at the same time. Personally, I really appreciated this program both as a tutee and tutor because sometimes all it takes is that extra hour going over what you went over in class, but in a different setting, maybe with a different approach with a peer, and it's really sometimes that's all it takes to make that thing click. And from my experience, I found that there's nothing quite as rewarding or special as when you see that tutee that you've been with for the past hour trying to explain that one thing, and then finally it clicks and you see like the light come back in their eyes, they smile, you breathe a sigh of relief, and you remember why you wanted to be a peer tutor in the first place. And so it is this passion that is shared among each of our specific Learning Lab heads that I now welcome to come and introduce themselves. Thank you.
And so these tutors will introduce themselves and tell you which lab they head. I think we have everybody but French.
Yes,
Great.
Science.
Oh, and science, okay.
They're probably in class.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Leslie. I am the head of Chinese lab here at Kate, and it's from 8:45 to 9:45. The first 15 minutes are mostly for upperclassmen to come with questions before the room gets kind of taken over by underclassmen wanting help. And Chinese lab, we usually get students who want practice with oral skills, as Caroline mentioned before, because most of the students, Chinese is not their first language, and so it's really different from English for them to learn. Like, there's a lot of different components, and it's just it's good for them to get like one-on-one help with other people who have gone through the program, especially because the Chinese teachers live off campus, so we're there to help them when they need help.
I'm Yuko Skigawa. I'm a head of Japanese lab proctor. For Japanese lab proctor, we have 3 other proctors, and they're in Japanese 4. But I personally never taken Japanese class at K because I'm Japanese. So I ask students to bring some questions to lab because it's easier for us to answer questions and then teach them like what they don't understand. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Sydney Burton, and I'm the head writing lab tutor. And writing lab, we work with both history and English, so we kind of see a lot, and it's been really nice. We actually have like a few regular students who come. I go along with Phoebe Hurwitz on Wednesday night, and it's really nice to see people coming back and actually talking about their success and how we've helped them. And we deal a lot with freshmen in humanities, and I was a new sophomore, so I never took humanities, so Phoebe usually deals with that, but I deal with a lot of like the sophomore history because I've taken that class as long as Miss Fortner's advanced English class. Like, I've read all the books already, and it's really nice to help them and see what they're writing.
Hi, my name is Luca Kim, and I'm the head proctor for Spanish lab, and I am on duty on Tuesday with Katie Brown. And I think we both can agree that how Kate structured their Spanish program really helps even the tutors while we help. It's because we have different levels like level 1, 2, and 3, and like honors and advanced, but like each level has like a different tier of grammar, or like different amount of grammar that goes into like the teaching. And like we have like a wide variety of students who come in, like from even advanced courses for like poetry or something, or like Spanish 1 kids who just want to learn like the basics. I apologize. The basics of Spanish grammar. So even having like this, like I think Liz mentioned it, but for language labs, communication, oral communication, I think is really vital into like providing this helpful experience to the students. So being the people who can do that, I think is really helpful to this community.
Hi, I'm Sean. I'm the head tutor of Math Lab, and our program is pretty good because, well, we kind of asked our technology head to give us permission to look at our tutees' haiku pages, so we know what kind of tests they're having, what level of course they're in, to better help them to prepare for quizzes or tests or just like assignments in general. And also, Alice and I are on duty on Thursdays, so we never really like write anything down ourselves. We kind of teach or just kind of tutor our tutees by asking them questions. And yeah, it's kind of a guideline for almost all of us. Just never write something down for your tutee. Just let them figure out, but you're the one who's kind of helping along. You're not the teacher, but just help them through the process, instead of just feeding them the ideas that you want them to get.
Thank you so much. And I want to send these guys, some of them have class, so if you have any questions for them, before I go over quickly the rest of the academic support structures at Kate.
What is the process for applying to be a head tutor?
Well, you have to have experience in the lab that you're applying for head tutor for. And usually the teacher of like whatever program you're in will reach out to you and be like, hey, I think that you're a good candidate for this. And then you have to, there's like some other application questions that you have to fill out specifically for head tutor. So that's how you get selected.
Any other questions?
Where do you all meet? We're at
Different schoolhouse rooms, or
Yeah,
like in some labs are in my house. Yeah.
And so the schedule is posted in the dorms, and you can see who is on duty for each subject and where the lab is located.
It's really nice because sometimes, like, as I said, like, you get regulars because they know what night you're on. Like, oh, Wednesday's like Sydney's night, so they'll like purposely come out, just like, even sometimes just do homework with them to kind of have that resource there, and it's a lot comforting, even if they don't necessarily need the help, but to have someone it's kind of as a figure to help should they need it.
Also, she sends out pretty fun emails.
It's kind of a thing, the funny, funny emails. Thank you guys so much. Okay.
Marty? Yes. Just a question. I know it's an effective program. I'm just curious if you thought about having it ever on Saturdays or other times during the week, because it is hard for many.
I know, yeah, and that is one thing that we've tried to address. The thing is the availability of the peer tutors and the schedule that they can adhere to, because their commitment is all year long. But yeah, that's something that we're thinking about all the time. We do have a couple of tutors who, in situations where a student is struggling as a day student, where we have arranged special time or special meeting. But that's not, it's not a walk-in, that the boarders enjoy. The day students don't enjoy that same thing. Some day students do stay later, and we have some day student peer tutors. One was so dedicated the night of the power outage. I think there was a transformer or something that blew, and there's a big traffic jam by the fruit stand because his mom, and he doesn't drive yet, his mom or dad drove him up here and he was ready. But just to back up a little bit with regard to accessing, it's open to anybody. It's Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and it's from 8:45 until, they say 9:45, but they usually go till 10. And it's in each language, math, science, and writing. And they try to organize their schedule so that if one student has a specialty in chemistry, that they're placed with a student who has a specialty maybe in physics or remembers, had an affinity for physics. So kind of, strengths-based approach. Okay, supervised study hall is, it's every school night. On Sundays, it's from 8 to 10 to accommodate our dorm meetings, because we don't want our students to miss the dorm meetings, because that's an orientation for the whole week. Every other weekday, Monday through Friday, it's 7:30 until 9:30. It's in M1, and we just changed the location because it used to be in BCB1, and we've been trying to find, 10 years ago, it felt like such a punishment to go to a supervised study hall, even though students acknowledged it was very helpful. And one of the things that seemed to be, that they were self-conscious about is being in that room is kind of a fishbowl in BCB1, so we changed it to M1, and we'll see if that just helps a little more. We have a Keurig, so they can have tea or cocoa. We're trying to make it more, just warmer. It's proctored by a faculty member. We have students who self-admit. We also have students, they have mandated attendance as part of their academic support program. And this year we're piloting having some math teachers and humanities teachers. If a student comes to class without homework done, the teachers can access the proctor schedule, the proctor notes, and that student who doesn't have the homework completed will get it done in supervised study hall. Okay, and our librarians, wonderful resources, like I said before, with citations, online resources. All of our 9th and 10th graders take a research skills class, but if they need any extra support with that, librarians are available, and there's always a librarian at the front desk, and there's always a librarian on duty at night. And students access in their open blocks and in the evenings. Finally, academic skills office. So we're moving to a kind of a response to intervention model. So I meet with some students regularly, once a week for 6 to 8 weeks, and the goal of that support is to give them the independent work skills, study skills, strategies, so that they can apply them independently. And the goal is to move them out of that program and refer out if they need continued support, to refer to maybe a content area tutor, or I'm trying to find a good educational therapist in the area who works well with teenagers. I think I found one. We'll see if she could commit. But let's see. So also, I'm available for students who need a one-time appointment. Of course, the advisor is always that first person, but if the advisor has worked to help that student with whatever challenge they're facing, academic challenge, if that's that support wasn't effective, then the student might make an appointment with me, and we'll work on it. Let's see. That's covered. So with regard to access, the students I see, some students reach out and make those one-time appointments. They just email me, let me know, if they need help, or maybe their advisor will email me and we'll set up an appointment. Some students, if students have a new psychoeducational testing report, I'll meet with those students kind of for that 6 to 8 week period. And also sometimes academic achievement, and those grades and effort grades are indication that they need some ongoing support in the academic skills office. Any questions about academic support at Kate? Any other questions? Great. Well, if you think of any when you leave, you're welcome to email me, Marnie Weir. And so thank you for this opportunity to come in. Thank you. Okay, so now we've got kind of a busy week ahead ahead with the CPO events. So I can first start off with Danielle Huerta on the faculty staff cookie exchange. Thank
The
you.
most important part of the meeting.
So Grace Davidson and I are the Faculty Appreciation Committee chairs, and we're excited about next Wednesday here in the Johnson Library. We'll be having the faculty staff cookie exchange. So we already have 23 local families signed up to bring 104 dozen cookies. And what we'll be doing is laying them all out on a series of tables, and then the faculty and staff can all come through and choose which dozen cookies they want to take home to their families. So it's really not for eating here, it's really for them to have something to take home to their families in appreciation of everything that they do for our kids all throughout the year. We'll also be serving some spiced cider, so for people who can stay for a few minutes, they can stay and chat with us. So we have, as I said, we have local families, and by local I mean all the way to LA, because there are families in LA that are organizing through Tracy to bring up a lot of cookies. And we have 4 families from farther afield who've made financial contributions, which help with some of the incidental costs. So we're really excited about the event, and if you happen to be able to bring a few more dozen, our goal is 116 dozen. So it should be a fun event. So thanks very much for all your support.
That's a lot of sugar.
Yes, it is.
Butter. Heather.
We'll talk about more cookies.
Yes, to talk about more cookies. It's time for the students.
It's time for the students, so we're meeting right after this meeting at the Macintosh room to deliver a holiday goodie bag for our students. And it will be last of this season, and then if you don't want to go home and stay here like a little longer and help us, you're all welcome to come and join us. And then as Tracy mentioned, if you haven't had lunch yet, you could just have something at the cafeteria before you guys come and join us. Thank you. See you all.
Yeah, and I would just say, so we're doing freshman, sophomore, and the junior class right after the senior class. Do you want to talk
Just quickly,
Yeah.
Friday morning, Monday morning, the 17th, if anyone is available, I've had some generous offers of cookies already, but we're going to do senior class cookie bags, and we're going to give them to the councillor office, and then they'll just distribute the kids. They encourage that to happen at this time of year because it's an added point of contact between seniors and councillors. So anyone that's around on Monday morning to either donate cookies or even just come and help us do the bags. It's great fun. It's a lovely time of year on campus. There's just a great atmosphere. I love to do it. So 10 o'clock Monday morning, bring yourselves or bring cookies, both of you. That'd be great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and so as Michelle mentioned, the college counseling office is taking the opportunity because, as Ben mentioned earlier, so many of the seniors are getting college news, so they're doing a bunch of rounds of meetings with them, apparently one-on-one meetings with the seniors on Monday, and they're giving the goodie bags out to the kids at the time. Okay, so Susan, I'll turn it over for you for the prom and learn formal.
Okay, so hi everybody. So on behalf of the Student Prom Committee, as you know, the seniors do 3 fundraisers to raise funds for their senior prom. And this is our second fundraiser, and they are personally willing to deliver candy grams to anybody that you designate on campus for a small fee. For $3, they will be personally delivered to be creative, to your children, to your children's teachers, to send a few to the kitchen staff, to the admissions office, to the development office, to Ben's office.
There you go.
And so I will be around after this meeting to collect and to take orders. And it's this cute. And so the delivery will happen the last week before the kids go off to winter break. Secondly, winter formal. So as most of you know or may know, this year is the year of inclusion. And this year, to align with that year of inclusion theme, we are proposing to do a Havana night for winter formal, which will take place on February 9th from 5:30 to 10:30. The entertainment will include gaming, there will be a traveling magician going around from table to table during dinner and the pre-dinner activities, and there will also be a dance with lots of salsa music and some salsa dance instruction. And we may or may not have,
Yeah, right.
directly at end, may or may not have a mystery dance performance by one of our esteemed.
That'll make everybody want to get off the dance floor.
And the highlight of the evening will be authentic Cuban food that we'll be bringing up from Versailles for the students. So in order to make this fantastic event happen for our students, I need some volunteers. Oh, and before I forgot to say that myself, Melody Duprat, and Jessica Nelson, who's watching us from New Orleans, we are co-chairing the Winter Formal, and we would greatly appreciate it if you could find some time to help us set up this event for our kids. So I'll send this sign-up sheet around, and I'll collect it at the end. So thank you.
I have a question just for everyone here. Could the candygrams be added to your student account? Is that an option for payment or not?
No. We would prefer cash. I brought lots of change, and personal checks, I believe we can take.
How much are they?
They're $3 a piece. Did I not mention that? Yes. But they'll be personally delivered with candy canes attached to these beautiful candygrams that the seniors designed.
And part of the reason for this, with the nominal dollar amount, Sandy, it's just too much for the business office, one, to go through. And then the seniors are also soliciting from the kids, and since they've had issues in the past where kids have run up quite an excessive amount of bills and parents. So that's why it's cash, or a personal check. So then I just wanted to point out a couple things going on sports-wise this afternoon. If after 3:30 you wanted to support the Rams with some of the sporting events. Girls varsity soccer is playing against Dunn today on campus. We've got JV and varsity basketball against Foothill Tech at Ventura College, so for anyone going south, if you wanted to. And the 63rd Kate Junior Squash Tournament kicks off at 4 p.m. today, and I think it goes through the weekend. And that's at the Santa Barbara Athletic Club. And then the last kind of community event open to everyone is the Kate Winter by Candlelight in the chapel at 7 p.m. So, and that's open to, I believe, everyone in like carpentry and the community in general. What?
On Sunday.
On Sunday. And the students do a similar Monday. Yeah.
So we'll live stream the Monday too.
Oh, okay. Great. Okay. And that, I guess, we put up on Veracross, or you send out a new.
It's already out.
Perfect. Awesome. So up in Veracross, in the top right-hand side, there's like a thing that says live stream event. So that's where you find it if you want to watch it. And I think that's it for, please, if you want to grab something to eat, if you're staying to help us put the goodie bags together, we're going to kind of go to, and